Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Vice President Kamala Harris are accusing each other of playing political games over calls about storm relief. Here's Harris responding to reports that DeSantis refused to take her calls.
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now, and playing political games with this moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations, is just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
Well, Governor DeSantis fired back.
My focus has not been on dealing with Kamala Harris. I saw the news report. I didn't know she tried to contact me. But I'd also say it's not about you, Kamala. Right. It's about the people of Florida. She has never called on any of the storms we've had since she's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown any interest in the past? We know it's because of politics. We know it's because of her campaign. I have zero time to entertain these political games. She says focusing on protecting your people is selfish. I think she ought to look in the mirror.
Wow, powerful. A dangerous thing to do, Ben, is question Governor DeSantis when it comes to storm prep, given that he has a stellar record of more than 4 years of doing this. I want to put up an image. This is Tropicana Field. This is where the Rays play. It's right outside of Tampa, Florida. It's in St. Petersburg. And you can already see in this image that we're going to put on the screen the linemen getting prepared, all the supplies. Wow. Maybe a call came in, and maybe Governor DeSantis was busy doing what he does best, which is prepare for these storms, while she prepared for View talking points?
Yeah, I also thought it was pretty rich of her to sit there and talk about not playing politics and how important this moment is. And then she's like, and now I'm going to go do a late night comedy show. I'll see you guys later, America. But for a moment, I'm going to attack the governor for political reasons. And this is where I don't understand what happened in this country. And I mean this sincerely. Like, in this country, there should be certain moments that are off limits to politics, because when the water goes to 10 feet, it doesn't ask, are you conservative? Are you liberal? Are you an independent? Do you not vote? Are you not registered to vote? How much taxes do you pay? Are you rich? Are you poor? And for her to sit there and to take the bait, because she clearly knew the question was for her to take the bait, and she took the bait, and she politically said, I'm going to own this moment. I'm going to go get on that plane, fly far away from the disaster, but I'm going to try to nail him. Like, you can say a lot of things about the Florida governor. You can't say the guy doesn't do his job well in times of crisis. 100. And he's been under crisis for a couple weeks now. And to say he didn't take the phone call, maybe he was just busy trying to save lives.
Yeah, Harris, to that end, when you're asked a question and you don't know the facts of the situation, you're just hearing a report come in, you can back up and say, I'm going to be presidential. I'm here to support the people of Florida. That is what I'm about. I'm sure he'll get back to me when she can. She chose to become political, and one fact stands out. This is the first time she's ever made a call to the governor of Florida about a hurricane.
Yes, and he talked about that. I mean, that's pretty unreal with all that he's been through. And by the way, it isn't just the hurricane season. Remember when the building fell and all those people were in peril, and he brought in, Israeli experts to come in and search for people and do what they needed to do in the collapse of that building on the beach. So much has happened. He's got so much more experience. I questioned her judgment in that moment. But she did an Obama turn around. I'm going to go play golf now that I've just, told the world something bad has happened. It's not going to work for her.
Without a doubt. Emily, I do want to put up, because this is just a reminder of what DeSantis' record is on disaster relief. This was the Pine Island Bridge, which he restored in just 3 days. This was in 2022. It was a barrier island. This is the only way to the island. 3 days. He managed to do this. I wonder if Kamala could complete it in 30 days.
Of course not. Look, as a former Californian, the first time I moved out into a red state, I was shocked when I saw the speed with which things actually worked and were fixed and the like. And DeSantis blows all of that out of the water. I thought his response was apt, clear, and to the point, as he always is, which was, you know what, lady, I'm busy. And to your point, I thought you actually hit the nail on the head the best, Kaylee, which is simply that he is acting presidential. The American people don't care what your title is, but she has always demanded respect for her title without actually working to earn it or earn it at all. Here we have Governor DeSantis, who is acting in everyone's best interests, saving lives, getting the job done. The vice president pales in comparison. And for the record, I wouldn't take her call either.
Kennedy, another interesting layer to this, and you're kind of noticing a theme here. Biden a little perturbed. Maybe he's not at the top of the ticket. He posted a picture last night, and the very first sentence says, "Tonight I spoke with Governor DeSantis."
Yes.
While this is all going on between Kamala and DeSantis.
AKA, I am the president.
Subtle message. I mean,
No, and that's what he's telegraphing. Like, I'm here doing the boring work, actually talking to people, trying to get stuff done. And Governor DeSantis, he acknowledged that as well, that he had spoken to President Biden. He's spoken to President Biden in the past, in past storms. He's spoken to President Trump. So he is an executive, and that is one of the contrasts here. Vice President Harris, she may be vice president right now, but she's never actually run anything. She doesn't have actual practical day-to-day executive experience. Right. And, you know, for a lot of people, when they're picking a president, that tends to be one of the important qualities.
Yes, but just remember, Kamala's busy. It is so onerous to prepare those view talking points.
Got to write those hot takes and
way
those
more
jokes.
important than going to a FEMA briefing. Because FEMA briefings right now are completely irrelevant if you're the vice president. But you should call me. And then you should take my call, and I'm kind of an important person right now.
Yeah, and then she also has the Colbert talking points to prep, and Howard Stern. Woo, tough task.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.